Hey folks, we're going to continue working our way through some of the Eldrazi monsters that were released on Dungeons & Dragons, D&D Beyond recently. Let me check my signal here real quick, make sure I'm coming through loud and clear. I'll just kick through a quick intro spiel here, through loud and clear. And we'll get to work here right proper. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past 5 years. There's a slew of links in the description down below to different things that I've created. You can check out the stuff that I've done there. I've just posted here. Let me fix this here real quick. I've just posted that I'm live on Twitter X. So if you're on Twitter X still, I'm at Phil Kearney. There you go, Eldraine Monsters today. So like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when I'm live in the future. And for those that are interested in reference, let's look at the, let's see, watching now. So here's a link to the articles and documents online on my Patreon. You don't have to be a member to check this stuff out, but the live stream video starts here, which is where we're at right now. Hey guys. And then we can click on this Google Doc, which will pop open the Monsters Compendium Volume 4, Eldraine Creatures, which you can view as a read-only document off my Patreon. Otherwise, let's see, we've got them batched here, so I'm going to pull this down. We have a document here that we've been building out. I've got about maybe an hour to play around today with this. We're just going to scroll down to where we left last off. Just as a reference, the color mana spell point rules that we created for DMsGuild for use with 5th edition here. There's a stack of books, and let's see, most relevant to this conversation would be the revised 5-color magic spell list and the general core mechanics of color mana. So for the quick skinny here for folks. Boy, we're copper. We're almost going silver with this one. But here's a quick breakdown of how color magic works inside of D&D. We have a quicker breakdown would be, let's see, looking at this, pop open this book here real quick for relevance. We're here, we have our core mechanics. We have a simplified spell point system, which is 1 point for 1 level, 9 points for 9 levels, 5 points for 5th level. Full casting, half class casting, and third casting classes. Third casting like Eldritch Knight and Arcane Trickster. Technically, the monk would fall under that category. But you gain mana as you gain levels, up to 80 for a full caster, at 20th level, 40 for a half caster, and 20 for a third caster. The color magic system as it sits is, like, for example, if you wanted to cast Arms of Hadar, you would need a point of black magic. And if you allocated one of your mana pool, and when you take a short rest, you can decide how much of your mana is devoted to each color. If you wanted to play a Golgari or a Witherbloom character that only works with black and green magic, then you would devote all of your mana to black or green magic, depending on how you want to split it up. And then that'll help dictate what spells you would have access to. This is just the master list, but if you buy the spell point variant rules here, you get all the spells from all the books to date, broken down by color. Like, for example, Charm Person is blue, black, or red. So a Witherbloom character could pick up Charm Person in black, or you could research it to be green instead. Bless normally isn't anything other than a white spell, but if you wanted to spend some coin and time, you could research Bless so that you'd be able to use black or green magic with Bless if you so chose. Thus, we have control over what spells you have access to based on class. Slow your roll on limiting access to stuff if you wanted to keep like a 2-color paradigm for your character. Like, I want to play Boros, so I'm going to play white and red. So a Boros Cleric, for instance, False Life is black, so I would have to learn that as either white or red. Instead of learning it by spending coin and permanently researching it to be white or red, I could instead spend 2 of my prepared spells, prepare False Life and then prepare it a second time so I could learn it as white or red, since those are the two colors I would limit myself to. So that's the basic premise behind how the color magic system works in a nutshell. You can dive into this book. There's 75 pages worth of free preview here for you guys to chew on as much as you want to see how this stuff works. We're going to rework all this stuff in 2024 once the new player's handbook drops. We're going to update all of these mechanics to work with what the new is. We have a lot of updated mechanics. We want to add Theros and Strixhaven. And we'll also have the Martial Powers book published by then. So if you guys have been sticking around, checking out the Martial Powers playtest content that we've been working through on Tuesday lunches, more for you there in the future as well. All 13 classes will have the same color mana language that they can use for all the classes to have a true Magic the Gathering sort of 5e game. So basic premises here: white, blue, black, red, green magic. Here's your damage type breakdown: white, blue, black, red, green magics. There's 4 of each, coincidentally. And here's some of the basic tenets or aspects of each color magic. Like white magic has divinity, healing, light, protection, and restraint, while green is generally animals, healing, plants, nature, and spirit, versus black, control, entropy, fear, soul, darkness. These are different things that you see expressed, like white being divinity, healing, light, protection, and restraint. And we go down into alarm being a white spell. Alarm is a protection spell in general. It alerts you that that this area is being invaded or violated or broken. So that would be a protection spell. So white, there you go. That's the basic idea that goes on behind that. So when we're taking each of these creatures out of the Eldraine content here on D&D Beyond, we have on our spreadsheet here each of them. Like looks like we're working on the High Noble right now. Is that true? High Fae? Yeah, we did the High Phage Mage last week. Now we're looking at the High Fae Noble. So here's the card art that goes along with the Noble. So we'll look at how the class breaks down. Kind Guard, Mage, Noble. So we'll break down the class, the monster attributes that D&D assigned, see how all of these features resonate with how we've devoted, or how we've defined each of the colors in D&D. And once we complete that, we'll go look at the card art to see what's on the card that isn't necessary, and see what's on the card that's been translated into the creature stats, and what may not have been translated into the creature stats that we can then further translate for our own education and leaning towards when we make the 2024 conversion. Is there any new tech or ideas that are being presented here that wizards are looking at that we can incorporate into our color mana system to make it curve more elegantly, the house rules that we made, to be able to more curvely integrate with the ideas that Wizards of the Coast is presenting. So that's the gist of what we're doing right now. Let's see. So we're going to, and we also have a quick breakdown here of the power and toughness of the different cards. Power is how much damage they deal. Toughness is how much damage they can take. So Magic the Gathering basically works as you versus an opponent. Each you and your opponent have a hit point pool. Creatures and spells and different effects can hit you and cause damage to you. You can summon creatures to fight as an army to attack your opponent to destroy their hit point total, but those creatures can block and fight against those summoned creatures directly. If they do enough damage to kill each other, they're both removed from the board, and then you summon in new creatures and you keep swapping out stuff like that. So there's not a direct translation from power and toughness into damage, number of attacks, attack bonuses, and hit point capacity and armor class. There's no real conversion directly number for number in like here's the range and differences that we've seen for how much damage a 1/1 creature, a power and toughness of 1 each, like a Fairy Borrower has a toughness of 1 and has 12 hit points. A Ginger Brute has a toughness of 1, but in D&D it has 18 hit points. A high fae mage, a fairy borrower doesn't have a 1 strength. Doesn't have a 1 power, sorry. But a ginger brute has a 1/1 power, so it deals 8 points of damage, while a high fae imposter has a power of 1 on the card, but deals on average 34 points of damage per round in D&D, as does the High Fae Kind Guard does 27 points, while High Fae Mage does 24. Compare that to, say, a Fairy Pathlighter, which has a power of 2 on the card, yet deals only around 10 points of damage per round. So there's some massive disparity between the different powers and toughnesses and how the creatures are represented in D&D at different CRs. So that's your difference there. So we're not going to gather a lot of good information, pardon the pun there, gathering. We're not going to gather a lot of good information here about power toughness, but we're fleshing out the curve just to ultimately see how everything sits. Our main concern is color identity. That's what we're trying to achieve here. So without further ado, let's take a look at the High Fae Noble. It is listed as a 3 colorless mana and 1 blue. So you would need, if you were to summon this using Magic the Gathering, you'd have to have 4 mana on the table, and it would require 1 of that mana is blue, the other 3 is any color you want. Doesn't really matter. Our spells work that same way. Like a fireball, a 3rd level fireball is a red spell. Requires 1 point of red, and then the other 2 can be whatever you want. As long as the total amount of mana burned is 3, only 1 needs to be red. Or, of course, if you prepared it as, like, say, a white spell, then you need 1 point of white, and then the other 2 points can be any color that you want. Doesn't matter. So, but this is a blue creature, so let's take a look at what we have going on in stat block here and see how well it lines up to the flavor of blue. First off, Fae. Fae are almost always blue. While the Feywilds are generally very blue in nature. They can bend towards white, red, green, and black as well, but there's usually a component of blue involved with Fae. They have Flight. Flight is a generic blue ability. Fly equals blue. Damage resistance is piercing, slashing, non-magic attacks. That's kind of generic. Let's see. Dark vision, passive perception, telepathy. Telepathy is a very blue ability. Weapon damage that we see here. Bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage aren't devoted to any specific color. So that doesn't tell us anything specific that has resistance to that type of damage. Challenge rating 13. Good to know. Aura of Overwhelming Splendor. The High Fae radiates dazzling and mollifying magic. Dazzling, a befuddling effect. Blue magic characterized as illusion, mind magic, suppression, water, and air. So air for flight. Mind and illusion fits nicely with the motif of dazzling and mollifying magic. Each creature of the High Fae's choice that starts its turn within 5 feet of the High Fae must succeed on a DC 19 Wisdom saving throw or have the Charmed condition until the start of its next turn. Charm. Let's take a look at Charm Person as a blue, black, and red effect. So that's on point. Charm equals blue. What's that thing called? Aura of Overwhelming Splendor equals save or charm. That's very, very blue. Legendary resistances. Whatever. That's just because you're a CR, 13? Unreal. Let's see. Multi-attack. The High Fae makes 2 Fae Blade attacks. It can replace one of these attacks with a stunning soliloquy if available. Fae Blade. Plus 12 to hit. Reach 5. 1 target. 20 damage on average. It has 2 of those attacks per round with about a 65% chance of success, which is 2 out of 3. Off of 40 is going to be about 27 points of damage. What is the power toughness of the Chancellor? Ooh, it comes off as Chancellor of Tales, which is a 2-3. So let's go kick up to 2-3. /X Chancellor of Tales. Is that what it was called? Yeah. So it's going to average about 26 damage. And it's a 2/3 creature, so X Chancellor Tails. What's its hit point capacity? 175. That's significantly higher than the Pathlighter. I think it's the highest we have on the board so far. Yep. So, yet again, further evidence that these things don't really align or mean that much to each other, and that's fine. What is Stunning Soliloquy? Recharges on a 5 or 6 on a 6-sided die. The High Fae unleashes a string of magical words. Each creature of the High Fae's choice within 30 feet of itself must succeed on a DC 19's Wisdom saving throw or have the stunned condition for 1 minute. A stunned creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself if successful. Stunning Soliloquy. Is that how I spell it? Soliloquy. Save or stun equals... Let's take a look at... Hold Person is probably the closest equivalent to it. Charm Person, blue, black, red. Cool. Compel Duel, black or red. Let's take a look at Hold Person. Paralysis. Hold Person, white and blue, stands up. Blue on point, Stunning Soliloquy. Spellcasting. Let's see the spells. Detect Magic. Prestidigitation. Suggestion. Major Illusion. Zone of Truth. Prestidigate. Whatever, my dude. Alright, so let's start at the beginning. And is that all of them? Oh, and Capricious Step. Okay, we'll get back to that. And Ridicule. Ooh, these all sound good. Let's see. Detect Magic. Cantrips don't require mana, but do have a color identity for identification purposes. Because when you use color magic, the visual effects generally align with the color that you are using to cast it with. So... Oh, Detect Magic is a ritual, first level. My bad. But it's a ritual, you know. Blue. Very blue. Abu di abu da. How about Prestidigitation? Prestidigitation. Prestidigitation. Anyway, it's blue. Suggestion? I think that's the second, right? Suggestion. Blue and black. Major Illusion. Wanna guess that's a blue spell? I think it's first. Where is Major Illusion? Or is it Minor Illusion? Have I gone loopy? Oh, Major Image. Thank you. That's That's like a 5th level spell, isn't it? 3rd level, thank you. I do like that hyperlinking. I crap on them a lot about bad design, but that mouse over pop-up display is super freaking useful. I will give them credit. Blue again. Zone of Truth. 2nd level. Blue and black. So far, I'm batting 1,000 on this character. Let's go back in. The High Fae can take up to 3 reactions per round, but only 1 per turn. Capricious Step. Immediately after taking damage, the High Fae magically has the invisibility condition and teleports. Capricious Step. Teleport is, I would think, white and blue, generally speaking, and invisibility is very blue. So let's verify that with Misty Step and Teleport, as well as invisibility. So we can Misty Step at 2. Blink is white and blue. Misty Step and Teleport. Misty Step and Teleport. Misty Step. Thank you. White and blue. And invisible. Blue. Batting 1,000 here, folks. And Teleport. What is that? 5? Teleportation Circle. White, blue. That's off of a card. We know Teleportation Circle is white. Teleport. White and blue. There we go. Equals white or blue on point. What else he got? What you got? What you got? Ridicule. When a creature misses the High Fae with an attack roll, the High Fae magically mocks the creature, dealing psychic damage. What is that? Ridicule. Psychic damage. Want to bet that's blue? I think it's white, blue, and black. It might be white, blue, and red. White, blue, black. There you go. Blue on point. This whole class is this whole creature is lined up perfectly with what we assume it to be, using the magic conversion that we have. So far we're batting like 95% overall of all the classes that we've been at. There was like Compelled Duel as a white spell was the only thing that threw me, because normally Compelled Duel is black and red. But you could, of course, learn Compelled Duel by learning it, like preparing it twice as the base spell, and then preparing it as an alternate color. You can craft your pool to stay within the colors that you want to work with by reducing the amount of spells that you have in your prepared inventory. Or you can permanently learn it as the spell that you want by spending time and money researching a spell to be permanently in the color that you want, so that you can build a book or a prayer, a hymn book of spells that are in the color devoted to whatever guild, school, god, whatever it is that you're working with. Let's see. So that knocks down this character. That one is done. So let's go ahead instead now go and look at the card to see if there's anything cool on the card that wasn't already represented in the creature, in the monster description. And if there is, we'll identify what those conversions are. And if there isn't, then we'll make up something based on what we know about how color mana works and how 5e works. So, Fairy Advisor. Flying. Whenever you cast an adventurous spell, you may copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. An adventurous spell is an instant, it's like a cantrip sort of effect that you can trigger off of another card. So this is allowing you that adventuring is a subset, a small subset of the overall card catalog. So this is encouraging you to identify with excursions, and when you do, you're going to double the benefit of whatever that excursion is. There is no direct translation for that mechanic directly into 5e mechanics. So we're going to make some shit up. Adventures are generally instantaneous, or like sorcery or instant effects. You like flashbang things. You don't concentrate or sustain adventure effects. They're kind of like one and done things. So whenever you cast an adventure spell, you may copy it. You may choose a new target. Language equals when casting adventure, copy and target, copy with a new choose any target. What is that going to do? That's going to be basically a twin spell for free. So at will, not once per round, can twin any spell effect. It includes suggestion, detect magic, includes suggestion spell, ridicule, what else? Stunning soliloquy, Is that legal? Is that street legal? Stunning soliloquy. Capricious step. The High Fae unleashes a string of magical chords. Each creature of the Fae's choice within 30 feet. Okay, so that doesn't qualify. At will. Okay. So twinning effect, there you go. That would be that. Color mana revisions. This was attack. That's just a random comment, but that's all we had with that one. So Knight of Eldraine, which would be using the Ardenvale Tactician. Let's see, what time is it? We're 1:13. We got time for another one, at least one more, depending on how quickly we can get through these things. So let us get rid of the Chancellor of Tales. You served us well, sir. Thank you kindly. And let's dip down into the Knights of the Eldraine. Ardenvale Tactician. 2 white mana, 1 gray mana, 1 any mana. This as an adventure. See? Tap up to 2 target creatures, then exile this card. So if you were to do this, with that other card, if we were to cast this adventure, we'd tap 2 cards, which means like basically flatfoot them or stun them or use up their, basically eat their action economy for the round. So they get tapped, which is what tapping means in MTG. So you could tap 2 targets, and then that Chancellor card would double that effect for free automatically. So you'd be able to tap 2 target creatures, and then you'd also be able to tap 2 more target creatures for a total of 4, which is great. Basically, it's stun 4 creatures for that round. And then it has flying for free. And the text is, in the castle that prizes loyalty above all, the bond between knight and griffin is unmatched. Well, I guess that might be true. And this is a 2/3 as well. What are we calling this? Eldraine Knight? Is that Knight of Eldraine? Thank you. 2/3, Knight of Eldraine. Three, Knight of Eldraine. Let's check you out, my man. The realm of the Eldraine once consisted of 5 knightly courts: Ardenvale, Aberneth, Garenberg, Lochthwain, and Van Tress. White, blue, black, red, green. I don't think in that order. I think Ardenvale was white, Embereth was blue, Lochthwain I think was black, Gargenberg I think was green, and Van Tress was white. I'm not positive about that, but in ancient times the courts were established around 5 relics of tremendous magical power and unknown origin. Each relic in a magical embodiment of one of the 5 virtues of the Knights of the Realms holds a standard of excellence. So here we are talking about the themes of 5 without any direct reference to color. The recent invasion of nightmarish creatures called the Phyrexians devastated the courts, with much of the surviving populace fleeing into the wilds. A young prince, Will Kenneth, does his best to reunite the shattered realms, but a return to the former glory seems far off. Even in the shattered remnants of the realm, knighthood is among the highest honors one can receive. Knights of the realm, who are all addressed in the honorific Sir, are revered as champions, heroes, and paragons of virtue. They have many responsibilities, from protecting townfolk to embarking on adventures in the wild. Knights are often equipped with fine armor and weapons, and they ride noble steeds of various species, including griffins, in Ardenvale, giant owls in Van Tress, giant ravens, or giant vultures in Lochthwain. Some knights also wield powerful magic drawn from the relics of their respective courts. In the wakes of the Phyrexian invasion, whole orders of knights have journeyed deep into the wilds, searching for magical remedies to restore the kingdom to its former glory, or seeking to help travelers in remote communities beset by troubles. Achieving knighthood in one of the courts requires a quest that proves one's excellent in that court's virtues. In some courts, the final steps to becoming a knight involves being judged by that court's relic. Each court believes the virtue associated with its own relic is paramount, though not in lieu of the others. A knight of Embereth admires courage, that being red, ember, fire, red, Embereth. Courage above all else, but still looks down on the disloyal and ignorant, even though loyalty and knowledge are virtues championed by other courts. Knights of Eldraine channel their devotion to the virtues of the realms into magical power that infuses their attacks. Most knights deal extra radiant damage with these attacks, but some knights might deal damage of a different type, such as fire for Embereth or necrotic for Lochthwain. Lochthwain being black magic. I could see an entire campaign being built out of 5 different types of paladins, all being devoted to their different primal color: white, blue, black, red, green, and operating as a group. Necrotic damage, black, bling. There you go. This stuff is just coated in flavor. I love what they're doing with the flavor here. The Verdant Order. In the wake of the Phyrexian invasion, knights from all 5 courts of Eldraine have joined to form a new organization, the Verdant Order. These knights renounce their oaths in favor of a new one, answering to protect the lost part of their world untouched by war, the wildest parts of Eldraine. To that end, they patrol the forests along the boundary lands, turning back loggers and hunters by force if necessary. Though they renounced their former oaths, the Knights of the Verdant Order retain their focus on the 5 virtues of the court, so their knightly virtues trait remains unchanged. Hey, visitor! What's up, game? Still saying on Elemental Knight. This is the brand new Knight of Eldraine. We hadn't worked on this one before, so this is new to us today. And I've got about 20. I got like 30 some odd minutes left. So this is great. We have the Eldraine orders here devoted to each of the 5 colors. With the destruction from Phyrexia, the Verdant Order kind of just curves into that idea we just had about a multi-color party of paladins or whatever's, or paladin whatever, working together in the Eldraine to protect it from whatever. Phyrexian leftovers, mortals from the Mortal Realm coming in, whatever. Anyway, Knight of Eldraine. So, getting to the cut of it. The Knight of Eldraine is a 2/3 creature, so let's see what kind of hit points the thing can take and what kind of damage it can deal. It's got 78 hit points. So 2/3, Knight, 73. A far cry from the 175 that the Chancellor had. Again, there is no rhyme or reason to the amount of the conversion from power toughness into damage hit points. It doesn't matter, but it's fun to look at it. Power toughness 2/3, and then power. We want to figure out damage per round. Knightly Virtue. The verse has one of the following traits depending on the court it serves. This is very useful. Let's pluck it. Courage. I'm going to guess that Ardenvale is white. I don't know for sure. I know for a fact that Locthwain equals black. And that means that Garganbrig equals green. Let's look up Garenbrig real quick to see if we are correct. But I'd be wanting to bet balls to bones. Oh, crap. That was the wrong button. Let's reopen close tab. There we go, buddy. Garenbrig. Green. Big surprise, huh? When Court of Garenbrig enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, distribute 2+1/+1 counters amongst up to two target creatures. Then, if you are the Monarch, you are, double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. That's so fucking dope. These things are cool, man. I could build an entire campaign off of this, no problem. That'd be fun as hell. Get into the 4th tier and start fighting. The Phyrexian, the Primarchs. Working on your live 20 model currently. Right on. Drawing stuff, doing some rigging. Excellent. No, it's not. Right on, man. Good luck. Let's see. Where were we? Down here. I think, yeah, I like these. So, red, wisdom, intelligence, charisma, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Constitution. What's missing? Dexterity is missing from here. Interesting that dexterity is missing from here. I would have thought that red would be... I would think that red would be dexterity. Constitution is black? That's... I would think that black would be charisma. This is actually really insightful. This is really insightful as to... Why would white be charisma? Ardenvale. We better look up Ardenvale. Ardenvale. Whoops, you just exploded the internet. Thanks, buddy. Let's just do this instead. Castle Ardenvale. Land, add. Well, that's horrible resolution, but we know that's a white symbol. So 4, create a 1/1 white human creature token. Okay. Loyalty being charisma? That's an interesting choice. So, color mana revisions. Color stats. Color to stat conversion. See, strength makes sense to me. I always thought green was strength no matter what. But wisdom? I guess intuition is where that sits. That feels kind of red. White is what, charisma? Intelligence was automatically that was always my default assumption. But black being constitution. Huh. I can get behind these. White, blue, black, red. Okay, I'm cool with that. That's super useful. We have a we have a section in our book on alternate magic. Here's the book that we have. You can scroll down here to check out the sources of magic. So here's some variant sources. Let's see how our sources line up currently. Arcane binding, channeling, examples of characters, virtues. Variant sources. And that's all we had in that section. Yeah, we aren't using colors directly yet in this book, but it was something that we were looking at. So we have the breakdown here. What is this page? Page 37 of the document. Here we go. So you got intelligence, charisma, dexterity. So we can swap out dexterity as a spellcasting ability score. I'm cool with that. Harmonics made a lot of sense at the time for dexterity. These are the different types of magic that we're defining. And here's the spellcasting ability scores that we have assigned to each of them. Like harmonics is cool. Let's look at channeling. Spellcasters pull mana from an external source of power. From an external source to power spells, warlocks channel their spells to their patrons. Druids and rangers channel energy from the environment. Wild magic sorcerers channel raw chaos. Harmful channeling, referred to as defiling, steals life force from the environment, turning vegetation around you to ash, destroying a radius of 5 feet for every level of spell cast. And then versus harmonics, magic effects are created through resonance, most common among bards. During performance, the vibration of sound triggers the effects of the magic. Other harmonics can be achieved through subvocal chanting, resonating crystals, ripples on the surface of liquid, even light passing through prisms when arranged precisely can trigger harmonics. And then so like channeling is strength and constitution, which is defined as green and black. Is that what we just defined those as? Green and black. Oh my god, this is actually making sense. Because warlocks are black magic, druids and rangers are green magic, so channeling actually works as intended. That's fucking crazy. Harmonics being dexterity or intelligence, bards are generally red, green, and blue. None of those, well, blue lines up with intelligence, okay. Red would have lined up with dexterity, no problem, but they're not using dexterity as a stat, probably because armor class, reflex saving throws, and ranged attack or targeting are dexterity, while constitution is like hit points and concentration. So I can see constant. Well, I can see. Yeah, I can see why they would nip dexterity over any other. But this allows us, when we rebuild this next year, this will allow us to recurve these different sources to work with the color definitions that we're getting right here, right now. So I'd say this is a massive score just picking that up alone. To see how they're really defining virtues in the color language. I'm really thrilled about that. So let's see, knightly virtues. Lance. Actions. What are your actions, my man? Lance, longsword, melee, hits. Oh yeah, CR3. Okay. Heavy crossbow, 1 attack. Hit, deals 6, but it's a 2/3 to hit, so it'll be hit points of 4. Using 2 hands plus 6, so that's going to be 6 radiant damage plus 4 radiant damage is 10. So that's our hit points. So that's 10. So let's go back up here into our document, and Knight of Eldraine are averaging 10 damage per round and taking 73. That's cool. Now let's go back to the rest of the card to see what other deliciousness there is. Oh yeah, and they don't have any other effects going for them because they each have a different color that they're assigned to. So as soldiers, they're kept pretty generic. But like if we were using, like, say the martial power system that we develop on Tuesdays, you could have like a barbarian, like a barbarian paladin that's devoted to Garen Brig, that focuses on strength, and then all of your mana effects would be like red and black, for instance. So let's see what the card does to see what coolness we can extract. Tap up to 2 target creatures. That's an instant. That's an action effect. So that'd be, and that's a 1-time cast, and it has flying, which isn't particularly white. Let's see, soldier. Sorry, we'll go with martial. Creatures, no specific devotion to a color, regardless of the card's white. It's pretty solid. Let's go down to here. And that's it. Can deal radiant damage, though it specifically said you could deal something other than radiant. Default paladin, white, source equals radiant damage. Text says can be other damage. Red equals fire, black equals necrotic, etc. So that all lines up. Once per encounter. So going to the card, converting the adventure is tap up to 2 target creatures. So Dizzying Swoop. Equals stun 2 creatures you can see until the end of your next turn. Flying. Blue by nature, but granted by mount. That. I don't think there's much else I need to say about this. D&D and MTG flavor. But that's huge. That is huge. For spellcasting class features in 2024 conversion. Save. We can blank that out. How are we looking on time? I do have a hard cap on my timing today, so I think we can probably get through the Nightmare Haunt, but that's probably where we're going to end today. So there's going to be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's only 10 more critters after this one. So we'll probably be done. I do this maybe once a week. So we'll probably be done with this. And we should be done with this in December at some point. So let's knock this guy down. 10 more to go after this one. Let's pull open the Wicked Visitor. This dude is dope. Two mana, 2/2. Whenever an enchantment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent loses life. This is basically what that would translate just off the cuff. Enchantments are like sustained or ongoing effects, which kind of leans into the idea of a concentration effect. So the way that you could read this is whenever it reads whenever an enchantment you control, or whenever a spell effect, or whenever you're concentrating on a spell and that concentration ends, graveyard means you discard the card. Graveyard is your discard pile. Graveyard is thematically things that are spent or have died. Graveyard. So when you chuck a spell that you've been concentrating on into your discard, or when you lose concentration, or when you dismiss a spell, each opponent loses 1 life. A character has, a player playing MTG has 20 hit points to start. There's 20 levels in D&D. So each opponent loses 1 life. 1 life either translates into 1 level worth of something, or the amount of resources that you would gain with a level, like for temporary hit points, healing, and damage. 1 life generally translates into 5 hit points, 5 temporary hit points, 5 points of damage, 5 healing. So this would be whenever an enchantment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, each target creature takes 5 points of damage per level of effect that was dispelled, for instance. That's a good way of expressing it. Nightmare creature, which is Wicked Visitor, which is in here called the Nightmare Haunt. So let's get to work. 2/2 Nightmare Haunt. CR5, hit points 44. How much damage do you do, Dud? Damage. So, boy, you got a lot going on here, Chief. Neat. Multi-attack, 2 claw attacks. Hit is you typically take 2/3 the damage to calculate damage per round. So 2/3 of 6 is 4. 2/3 of 9 is going to be 6. So that's going to be 10 points of damage, and it has 2 claw attacks. So that's going to be 20 damage per round. Nightmare Haunt creates spectral tendrils that cover the ground in a 20-foot square that it can see within 30 feet of itself for 1 minute or until it uses this action again. When a creature other than the Nightmare Haunt enters the affected area for the first time for the start of its turn there, the creature must succeed a DC 14 strength saving throw or take 11 points of necrotic damage. Last 20-minute kick. And we got to bounce. A creature that starts its turn in the area and is already restrained by the tendril. Oh, this is just the Vard's Black Tentacles with a lesser effect. The affected ground also is considered difficult terrain for creatures, blah, blah, blah. All right, so damage is going to be about 20. Okay. This is cool. I'm digging it. Yeah, 2 claws attack. Claw, can claw, tendrils of slumber. Slumber is a sleep effect. Blue-black, I think, is the effect there. So let's look at sleep. Let's go to sleep spell. First level spell. Sleep equals blue. Blue and green. All right, color me long. Interesting. Does it actually put people to sleep? Is that the effect that it actually does? They're restrained. They take damage. They're restrained. I don't know why it's called slumber because it doesn't put you to sleep. Saving throw on a failed save. Oh, it gains the unconscious condition. Fair enough. Sleep is black. I'm down with sleep is black. If we find more instances of sleep being black, we'll change the color. We have to have a few instances of an effect or a spell being labeled under a specific color other than what we already have it listed for us to add that color to our array or consider switching it. So this outlier, this sleep effect as an outlier for blue-green being used by a black creature could just simply be that it's over-invested to be able to gain that as a black ability as opposed to blue or green because it's outside of its color spectrum. Just like we occasionally see Compelled Duel listed as a white color as opposed to red. So let's see, Nightmare Haunt, D&D flavor. Magic resistance, that's whatever. Somnophage. What the fuck? Somnophage equals. At the start of each of his turns, Nightmare Haunt gains a number of temporary hit points equal to 5 times the number of unconscious creatures within 30 feet of itself. Wow, that's cool. We got some sleep stuff going on here. Equals black? Sleeping or unconscious? That's honestly pretty cool. Telepathy is very blue. It's psychic in general, so blue-black makes sense. Telepathy, it works. Black is okay. Immune to blinded, charmed, exhaustion, frightened, damage, immunity, psychic. Yeah, psychic. Blind, fear, charm. Interesting about exhaustion. Is this an undead? It's the aberration. Interesting. Multi-attack. We already did that. Tendrils of Slumber. Vard's Black Tentacles is a 4th level spell. I believe it's listed as black. And green, maybe? Nope, strictly black. Equals black with sleep. I'm getting compelled that maybe sleep equals black. I can get into that. Bonus action, Shadow Stealth. Dim, Dark Light, Nightmare Hunt has the hide action. Shadow Stealth. That is a very black feature. Dim or more dark. Bonus action, hide. That's cool. And then the card. Whenever enchantment you control it's not making any mention of sleep in here. I think they're riffing hard off of the nightmare. Amalgamations of many childhood nightmares skulk the realms of dreams, feeding on the collective terror of all those trapped in the wicked slumber. So yeah, they're leaning hard into the language on that. It doesn't have any sort of sleep effects or anything that implies sleep. It's just got that dispel effect. Does it have any concentration effects at all? It really doesn't have any dispel effects. So I can see it not gaining temporary hit points for a spell effect ending, and I can see losing hit points doesn't equate me gaining hit points, so that doesn't jive. But if I put you to sleep, you're going to wake up if you take damage, so that doesn't jive either. Because that's generally how sleep works. You take damage, the unconscious condition ends, and you wake up. When an enchantment you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, this is unraveling, and it harms you when it unravels. When an enchantment you control is put in the graveyard, damage an opponent. Opponents are hurt when your shit ends. So what do you got going on here that can end, buddy? You can wake up. You can escape the tendrils. You can not take damage. Remains asleep until it is no longer in the area with the tendrils. Takes any damage or is targeted by a remove curse or similar magic. Enchantment ends. Boy, I really want to work that. Oh, I guess we'll build it this way. Hold on. Card effect. When the haunt succeeds a saving throw against a magical effect, caster takes 5 points of damage times proficiency bonus. It's like a 5th level character has a proficiency bonus of +3. If I were to target you with something that requires a saving throw, if the hunt succeeds the saving throw, you take 15 points of damage. Do you want to try again? I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a whole lot. Target effect, fail equals opponent takes damage. Is good baseline idea for monster powers. Like the martial power system, when we build out creating monsters using the martial power system, there's a number of legendary, mythic sort of effects, actions, and reactions that the creatures can take against the players, and this would be a really good one to add to that effect because you're triggering saving throws off of targets all the time. It's like if you were to target a haunt, like if you were to stun them with like a stunning strike, when the haunt succeeds the saving throw and breaks the effect, the person that targeted with it would then take an amount of damage 5 times their proficiency bonus. Like stunning strike for a fighter would be, you have to be at least 9th level, which is going to be a +4 bonus. So you take 20 damage for hitting him with it. Or not so much hitting with it, but for it succeeding and getting out of it. That's not bad. Whenever it succeeds the saving throw, yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so that's good language. I don't think there's anything else for us to extract from that, and I've just about reached my time limit for the day. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut stream here. I'm happy we knocked down a couple more of these. Well, 3 more of them, to be specific. Where are you at? There you am. So let's stitch that up. We'll close down these things. You can find all that stuff here in the description down below. Check out some of the stuff if you think this stuff is cool. Ask me anything. You can catch me on Twitter at Phil Kearney at any time. If you know where I skulk on Discord, you can catch me there as well. But I'll be back tomorrow morning to do more Spelljammer, combat, and exploration artwork. Right on, my guy. Some more color magic. Well, next week, yes. Next week on Monday, we'll do more Eldraine. Hopefully knock down another 3. Tomorrow morning, we'll be back again with more Spelljammer art. Tomorrow night, we'll be back with more Eberron cartography and creature token artwork. Friday, we'll be back with Spelljammer. And then on Saturday, we'll continue our book cover commission that we got hired for. And I'm really looking forward to sharing that because we've made some significant progress on it. So, hey, gamer, thanks for hanging out with me. Anyone else out there skulking in the darkness, I appreciate you being around. I'll be welcome to drop comments down below. Catch me online. I'll see you guys on the other side tomorrow morning. Cheers.